Creating a video game that is entirely original or unique is something that is becoming ever more difficult to achieve as the industry continues to grow. A common theme that we are witnessing because of this is the merging of two different genres, bringing the best of both worlds in one game, and the title we are looking at today is a great example of this. X-Morph Defense is an indie strategy and shoot 'em up game developed and published by indie developer X-Morph Studios. It released on Steam for PC along with Xbox One and PS4 on their respective stores August 30th, 2017. X-Morph Defense combines the fast-paced action of shoot 'em ups along with the strategic nature of tower defense to bring an exhilarating experience that requires both quick thinking and rapid reflexes. While most tower defense games take on the approach of the player being the good guy against the armies of an evil overlord, or balloons, in Balloon Tower Defense's case, X-Morph Defense turns that upside down. Instead, you are in fact the evil one playing against the good guys. A nice change for the genre. It takes a similar approach to the theories of an alien invasion that scientists have actually made, where Earth is invaded by machines directed by an AI. Its goal is simple: harvest the planet of all its nutrients to give the power needed to continue its journey through the stars. To do this, an array of towers are strategically shot down from the massive ship to Earth. Key points needed in order to transform the world and harvest it. You take on the role of the X-Morph scout ship that is capable of changing its form in accordance to what it is fighting, allowing it to adapt to almost any combat situation. Along with defending the core from incoming waves of enemies, the ship is also able to strategically place a variety of defense towers to further the chances of success. And so, with an advanced technological ship of destruction and the ability to construct equally as advanced defense turrets, you must defend the cores and begin your conquest one country at a time. As is to be expected of a game that mashes up the genres of tower defense and shoot 'em up, the plot to the game takes very much a back seat in X-Morph Defense. While that is the case, the character of the general, the main antagonist of the game, is very well done. As you slowly begin to take over the planet bit by bit, you really start to hear the concern within the character as he becomes ever more desperate to stop you, not to mention the more drastic measures he is willing to take in order to gain victory. It is a really nice touch, not to mention him being extremely well voice acted too. Without him, the game would feel really lacking from a plot perspective. Between the great voice acting and how his personality changes as the game progresses, it really makes you feel like a powerful machine of destruction and fills in a simple plot. In order to transform the planet, you will need to conquer various countries such as Australia, Russia and Great Britain, just to name a few, one by one. Each level contains a specific number of waves that must be defeated in order to be victorious in that country. In most cases there are a total of 5 waves, but some levels do have more, such as 6 or 7. As you progress through the game, the number of enemy units in each wave increases, along with new, more challenging ones. Each level is also unique in what forms of attacks and armies a country has. For example, Russia has a high air assault, resulting in plenty of heavy helicopters and aircraft attacking. Germany is an all-rounder, pitting you against an array of units from artillery to large armoured tanks, and Argentina, where you'll be going up against large groups of medium ground units. Before starting each mission, you will get to choose upgrades and new abilities for your ship and turrets. The further you progress in the game, the more upgrades that will be available to you at the one time. You will need to adjust these upgrades in accordance to the military strengths and weaknesses of the country you are entering. It results in your need to be strategic before the actual mission starts, planning out and choosing the right upgrades. It can really make a huge difference and can often lead to either defeat or victory. This mechanic adds a whole level of depth to the strategy in the game, making the player think before the gameplay ever truly begins. Once you're done with your mission loadout, the level will begin. On any tower defense game I have played, the enemy waves always have set paths that they take to reach their destination. One of X-Morph Defense's main features changed this completely. Here you can use 2 or more towers to set up fences to block off enemy paths, forcing them to take another and hopefully longer route. It is one of the key strategies of the game, and one that can be a lifesaver. Along with the turrets, the player can also destroy large buildings, such as large towers, lighthouses, and other similar sized structures by planting an explosive charge at the base, an upgrade available to you early in the game. While fences can be adjusted and turrets moved at any time, destroying structures is irreversible, and if done recklessly can cause more harm than actually helping you, especially early in a level when additional routes are yet to be opened. It is easy to accidentally make one of these new routes that appear at a later wave shorter to the point it is near impossible to hold back the wave. Is another small detail to the game similar to that of your loadout with the turrets and ship upgrades. Just like it also adds a whole new level of strategic depth. It really adds a whole new dimension to the bog standard and tiresome strategy of the tower defense genre. Then there are the turrets, which too works differently to the general concept of tower defense games. At the beginning of each level you are given a certain amount of build points shown in the bottom left of the screen. Constructing a basic tower uses up one of these points, and upgrading the turret to a more advanced one costs an additional point. At the end of each wave, more points are given to you to construct more turrets. Along with that, you can also collect debris from destroyed enemy units, which, while very little, can allow you to build a handful of turrets that you would otherwise wouldn't have had. But you must be quick, as the debris doesn't last for long, and choosing the right moment on fighting and gathering the debris is key. You are always pretty much the underdog in X-Morph defense, so using your turrets correctly is key to survival. Each turret type works better against specific enemies. For example, the flamethrower works well against small ground units, while the laser tower works well against the slow heavy ground units. If you don't learn each of the turret's strengths and weaknesses, along with the enemy units, you will start to find yourself having a hard time. Again, the tactics of the turret types and enemy types add another layer of depth to the already staggering amount of strategy to be found in the game. The only issue I would have here is that it is sometimes hard to tell what units fit into what category. There are times I am wondering whether the specific unit fits into the medium or large ground unit, and it can result in trial and error attempting to figure this out. A solution to this would be to give the different unit categories various colours on the holo tiles shown at the start of each wave, so you know what are small units and what are large units, and so on, allowing you to prepare your turrets correctly. Right now, all ground units are coloured orange, while all air units are white. It's a small detail, but with the already huge amount of strategy in the gameplay, it would be nice to get a bit of help in that regard. The final aspect of the gameplay is the X-Morph ship itself. It has a total of 4 different weapons on it, the default being an all-rounder weapon that is good for dealing with weaker ground and air units. The second would be the missiles that demolish air units. Next is the laser, which is most effective against large ground enemies such as bulldog tanks. And finally is the bombs that really makes short work of ground units, both small and medium. Each of these weapons also have a charge attack. The default weapon has a form of a supercharged ball of energy that becomes bigger the more you charge it. The missiles allow you to fire off an EMP, instantly destroying large groups of weaker air units. The laser beam, all fire, creates a black hole that sucks all small to medium ground units into it, destroying them. Any large ground units will simply be slowed down while in its range. Finally is the charged explosive attack I mentioned earlier, that is used to destroy structures. It is also very effective at destroying medium to large units, but it has a cooldown time just like the black hole does. Choosing the right weapon, both primary and all fire at the right time, can make a huge difference in the heat of battle. It requires quick thinking and fast reflexes to pull off, but when you're in the middle of all the carnage, it really is some riveting gameplay. As a whole, the gameplay to X-Morph Defense is absolutely exhilarating. With its immensely in-depth strategic elements and its frantic fast-paced action, it changes how you will look at tower defense games, and it proves that mixing things up can lead to a great experience. There are 3 difficulty levels to choose from in X-Morph Defense, that being easy, medium and hard. Easy mode caters for those who are not really familiar with either of the genres of tower defense or shoot 'em up. It provides the player with more resources to build turrets, along with overall making the game a lot easier. Normal difficulty is for those looking for a challenge, both on a strategic and shoot 'em up level. It would be what I would call the level of difficulty the game was supposed to be played at, and provides a balance of the number of turrets at your disposal, along with the strength of enemy units. Hard mode is for the hardcore gamers looking for the ultimate challenge. This difficulty gives you less resources, resulting in fewer turrets, along with enemies being far stronger and firing more bullets at you. The problem with the difficulty levels is that they are a bit too extreme. Normal mode does start to get difficult around mid-game, even for those who are fairly familiar with both tower defense and shoot 'em up games. Because of the massive in-depth strategic elements of the gameplay, even in normal difficulty, there is little room for error in the later missions. It makes the game feel at times merciless, and often results in having to restart a mission because of one or two mistakes made. Easy mode should be for those simply looking to experience the game for what it is, while normal mode should be for those looking for a challenge while also leaving some room for strategic errors here and there. And X-Morph Defense doesn't do that. It also makes the game very harsh for those that might be a veteran of one particular genre but not the other. Those who are brilliant at tower defense games but aren't so much at shoot 'em ups will likely find themselves struggling in normal difficulty around the mid to late sections of the game. I am not a tactical genius myself, but I can generally get my way through most strategy games. But with normal difficulty having such little room for error, I began to become frustrated at times and needed to step away from the game for a short break to cool off. A bit of balancing with the difficulties would be appreciated, and the game would cater to a broader audience. The visuals of X-Morph Defense are simply beautiful. The moment you first start playing the game, you will realise that you're in for a treat. While many indie titles use a still image main menu screen, everything in X-Morph Defense is animated and gives a really good impression on the amount of work that has gone into it. It isn't just the main menu that delights, but also the X-Morph ship itself, the turrets, the core, and of course the enemy units and bosses. The amount of nitty-gritty detail that has gone into each and every asset is spectacular to say the least, and as an aspiring developer myself, I can't help but be in awe. It is a game that has had no shortcuts taken when developing it. XR Studios were going all in or going home, and everything about the game's visuals speaks that. It may not be to the incredible details of a massive AAA game, but as far as indie games go, you don't get much better than this. The years since the release of Orcs Must Die, there hasn't really been any tower defense game that has come close to the quality and fun that it brought. That is until X-Morph Defense came along. While X-Morph Defense doesn't bring much new to the table, it does change the formula to a certain degree, all the while being exciting and a lot of fun. I would definitely rank it with the likes of Orcs Must Die. With its exhilarating fast-paced action, massively in-depth strategic elements, and plenty of gameplay for your buck, there isn't really much to dislike. Indeed, the game's difficulty could do with being lowered a bit, particularly in normal mode, but aside from that, there isn't anything to complain about. At the end of the day, X-Morph Defense is a tough game that will put the skills of both strategy veterans and shoot 'em up experts alike to the test. It wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea, but to any fan of either or both of the genres, it certainly doesn't get much better than this. And with that, I happily give X-Morph Defense 8 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, thank you and have fun.